Hi, I'm Jack Grimmer at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. I've almost forgotten already which episode we're up to. 4. It feels, producer Luke, it's signal 4 to me. It's because I missed last week. I failed a fitness test. I can only apologise. But thank you to Luke, who ably steered the ship. I hope you enjoyed the show. This week, the usual favourites return. We'll have our double debrief with Phil, looking back at the games against Shrewsbury and Exeter, of course, midweek. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth and captain Joe Jacobson. Very honest assessment for them both as to the recent results. Also coming up in the next hour, big thank you to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association. The return of our chat with former Wanderer stars Gary Hand, a defender from nearly 50 years ago, playing for the Chairboys at Lokes Park. We'll be getting his memories as well. We'll hear from Chelo, who, if you were listening last week, our Mexican supporter. He's spoken to Luke on his Primero visit to Adams Park. Got that to come as well. If you've just tuned in as well and haven't heard from earlier on today, a couple of new signings, including a goalkeeper to reflect on as well. So plenty to bring you in the next hour, and lots to look ahead to as well. We've got the trip to Barnsley on Saturday, and then next Wednesday, of course, in the League Cup, not just the game against Bristol City, but Chairman Rob Cooig will have a question and answer session which will be live on Wycombe Sound and also on Wanderers TV as well at around 6:45. Drive time will come from Adams Park as well. We'll be speaking to Luke about that in more detail before chucking out time as well at the top of the hour. So lots to cover, as mentioned, and it's disappointing, obviously, isn't it, to have those back-to-back defeats, making it a total of 3 League One games lost. If you obviously discount the League Cup game, the opening game of the season does feel like quite a long time ago. Spoke to Phil Catchpole earlier on today, before the double signing news was announced. Phil, of course, I'm sure you're very well aware, head of audio and broadcast at Wycombe Wanderers, the club commentator and host of Ringing the Blues as well. Always fantastic to get his thoughts on what's been going on for the team. Obviously watched both games, Shrewsbury and Exeter, on Tuesday night as well. So started off with his assessment of how the team did on Saturday against Shrewsbury.
Well, the Shrewsbury one was a real kick in the teeth, smash and grab. I'm trying to think of any other cliches we could attach to the game, but it was, I think, initially when the team news came out and we saw the sort of the brevity of the injury situation, where we could see, Tapazoli, Vokes, big misses, at the front and the back. Vokes so important to how we play going forwards. And then I think what we have really noticed as well, so important to how we defend set pieces, because Akinfenwa used to do it, Vokes has done it really well. And I think, as Jason McCarthy described it on the commentary, he's sort of almost a spare man at corners defending. He's just in the middle and just told to go and attack the ball and head it away, and he more often than does. And I think we really missed that. And Tapazoli not being there as well. We've got a new keeper in there, so there's a lot of change, a lot of unsettled environment for the defence. And then you take away the Vokes and the Tapazoli element as well. It does make us look quite vulnerable, in fact very vulnerable, as we've seen in the last 2 games. So yeah, I think that was quite concerning. But what was really encouraging from the Shrewsbury performance was the attacking play, because we changed how we played, and I don't think Shrewsbury were expecting that. But unfortunately, Wycombe didn't convert that dominance in the first half into goals. And then when they got that goal in the second half, a lovely strike from Gareth McCleary, he thought, right, we can kick on from here. Credit to Shrewsbury, though, they had to come out of their shell. I mean, they had quite a lot of defenders on the pitch from the get-go. But they had to come out of their shell after going 1-0 down. They got the goal from a set piece or a long throw, which is as good as a set piece. And that was that. And then Wycombe just couldn't get away through. And Shrewsbury kept pressing. And, well, I say kept pressing, they just kept hold of the ball and weren't really going anywhere with it. And then, it was a really bad penalty to give away. Credit to Leahy for converting it. But, yeah, it was a real smash and grab, kick in the teeth. It would have felt disappointing to draw the game, and it felt absolutely crushing to lose it.
So you mentioned the injuries, obviously a huge factor, but it is still early in the season, and it will take many teams a while to get going, especially if there have been changes in the summer, and there was a bit of obviously a curtailed pre-season as well.
Yeah, there's all sorts of factors playing into this. Losing at Wembley, and all the players have said that isn't isn't a factor. I think more so for the fans, it may be. And then the short pre-season. I mean, that can work one of two ways, because you could say, well, you don't have enough time to lose your fitness, therefore when you come back, the muscle memory's still there and you're good to go. And maybe there will be a slump later in the season with long-term fatigue. But I don't know. I mean, in terms of fitness, I don't think we look any unfitter than our opponents. I think where we've really struggled is losing the characters in Akinfenwa, which we knew which was coming. The unplanned departure of David Stockdale and Anthony Stewart have been big misses. And the way that the market is and the way that the transfer market has been approached and dealt with means there's going to be a period of uncertainty whilst the season's happening. And it's over 10% of the whole season, Colin, that will take place before the window closes, which the way that Wycombe are attacking this window in terms of biding their time and not wanting to overpay for players, and that's to make this club sustainable. That's the way that they have to cut their cloth, and we're having to deal with that on the pitch, or certainly Gareth is certainly having to deal with those situations. Alfie Mawson coming in has been a big plus, but he comes in after the season has started. Yes, he's been training with the boys for a few weeks, but it'll take him time to get up to game speed, and he hasn't played a lot of football in recent times, so he's going to get up to match speed. That's going to take him a little while. We've seen it with Lewis Wing as well, who had a disrupted pre-season, and he said after the game against Shrewsbury that it was almost like this pre-season now. He was still getting that match sharpness and minutes back in. So I think once he's fit and firing, he's going to be a great player in the Championship, in League One, but it's going to take time for him to get going.
I think as well, when you have a defeat on a Saturday, you think, there's a game on Tuesday, we can really sort of make up for it then and let's go again. And obviously a disappointing result, but not too much in the game as it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's 3 defeats on the spin. So, on paper, you can see why fans are concerned by that. Wycombe only lost 9 games all through last season. But there was that terrible spell that Wycombe had in February. Hopefully, we're having that spell now. And then we can, it's all sunlit uplands to the top 6 automatics, however you want to look at it, which we'll see. But, it wasn't a terrible performance. I've seen much worse down the years. I thought Exeter were excellent, which didn't help. I thought, a Tuesday night game in August under the lights, it was rocking up there. They've just come up from League Two. They've got momentum. They've made a fairly promising start in the new division as well. And their high press, I thought, was excellent. I thought Wycombe were poor in the first half, much improved in the second, by which point you're chasing a 2-0 lead. They did a 2-0 deficit. They did what they couldn't do at Bolton, which was get a goal back. To make it interesting, and then again, this gave away a goal from a set piece, and that's what's really hurting Wycombe. You can talk about performances and how the games were, but essentially we gave Exeter 2 of those goals. Which if you do that away from home, it's always going to be tough. But I thought there were bright sparks in there. I thought Gareth McCleary looked to be on good form. I thought Alfie Mawson, for his first full match for quite some time, showed real good class on the ball. Some of his distribution was absolutely fantastic, and it was a good 90 minutes to get in the legs for him, and hopefully they can keep him fit and get him match sharp, and we'll really see the benefit. I know a lot of fans are licking their lips at the prospects of a Tapazoli-Mawson combination at the heart of defence. If that is a 4 or if it's a 3, you could put Chris Farino in there as well. And I think a lot of fans are quite excited to see that. And I really hope that the injuries to all concerned will play out and they'll be back on the pitch together as soon as possible. And
obviously he spoke to Gareth after the game, but I think he was disappointed, wasn't he, with how the team started, but was sort of very optimistic, as you'd expect, that the improvements will come.
Yeah, I think, he was certainly very angry after the Shrewsbury game, I think, at the nature of the goals that were given away, and that was echoed really on Tuesday night. I think he's very pragmatic. He likes to keep things in-house, so I think any shouting or finger-pointing or whatever will happen away from the media and the press, which is how he's always done it, and I think the players respect him for that. But they need to start repaying that on the pitch now when things start going against them on the pitch, when there's a range of set pieces coming into the box. But yeah, I think the first half performance very disappointed with, and you can hear what he says now. I spoke to him after the game, pitch side at Exeter.
Yeah, not good enough. Unrecognisable first half, and then second half a bit better, but still conceding 2 corners is not Wycombe Wanderers, and set pieces have become an issue. We've conceded 4 now in 2 games, and that's not good enough. We've got to make sure that we're solid if we're not going to be creating as much as we usually do, with the likes of the injuries we've got. We've got to make sure we're solid at the back, and we weren't tonight, and that was the big thing.
You were clearly quite angry with the goals on Saturday. 2 more tonight. Is it because it's an unsettled back line? Is that contributing to it?
Perhaps, it's a factor of a few things. We've got players who are put in the team who aren't probably up to speed, but then I've got players out through injury. Ryan's back, Sam Vokes, Brandon Hanlon, Curtis Thompson, Jason McCarthy. David Wheeler almost missed the trip. We've got quite an injury list there, and I think that we need to make sure we can play without these people. And we were unrecognisable first half. We really didn't get going, and once we started putting it more on them second half, like we usually do, then we looked a lot better. But still, the corner, it's a free header at the back stick, and you can't do that. You can't give those chances away. So we'll have to be working on set pieces very hard. I can't remember the last time I lost 3 league games in a row. It's maybe last season or even the season before, but it was a poor showing, and I thought that Exeter deserved the win tonight, and that's tough to say because usually we turn up. We didn't really turn up that first half.
What did you say at half time? Because there was a much improved performance in that second half.
I had a few choice words with him, and told him exactly what's got us success over the years, and I think that you saw definite change of style in the second half, and it was more like us, and the goal was fantastic, and created a few more chances at goal, but again we looked vulnerable from set pieces. We're giving silly fouls away. Like I say, 1 or 2 aren't up to speed yet, and it's part of the injury list we've got, the short pre-season we've had. It'll come, I know that for sure. I'm super positive that we'll be right up amongst it towards the end of the season, but we've got to get going, and we haven't started yet. The boys are gutted in there, and I'm positive that we can get a result Saturday at Barnsley. In a strange way, we are getting a lot out of these games because these boys are coming through. They're coming in first team experiences, so believe me, that will pay off later on in the season. But it's just costing us the results as well. Not the young boys, everyone. It's just not gelling together at the moment. Alfie's coming for his first start for 9 months, and so he's going to get better as well. So there's plenty of positives, but it's just now making sure we start getting some results on the board, because obviously we don't want to be sat down in the bottom side of the table. We've been there before. We know what that's about. We need to make sure we start pulling away from that. But long season, a long season to go, and I think we've got plenty of opportunities to get some results on the board in the next few weeks. But can't defend like we've defended tonight. That was poor.
Alfie Mawson showed some real touches of class, especially bringing the ball out of defence. Was that a positive tonight?
Absolutely. He showed what we can do. And I think once we get Alfie up to speed again, he's going to be a super talent in this league. Chris Farino's still young, still learning his trade. And that's important for him to get minutes and fitness. And there's some players that really have come back from injury and are in the team, and it's like they're doing me a favour. It's tough, but they're really not up to speed yet, and that's the state of the club at the moment. So once we get everyone fit, once we get everyone back firing 100%, where I know we can, I think we'll be a good force in this league. But we may have to go through 1 or 2 tough times, and tonight was definitely one of those.
Taffers, Ollie and Vokes will be the fans' big miss, especially from the set piece goals conceded. Any hope for Saturday? Yeah,
both. We're hoping that Taff especially could be back for Saturday. He's a hell of a player, and having somebody 6'5" in your defence, always from set pieces, is always a for and against. He's always great. I'm sure he'll be sat at home gutted that we've got beat, because they want to win no matter what. These boys, they're not people going, I'm glad they lost, I wasn't in the team. We haven't got that anymore at Wycombe. It is totally everyone for the cause, and like I say, some bright sparks tonight. Some of the young boys getting on and getting more minutes under the belt, but we defended poorly at times, and I thought that first half we weren't a Wycombe team. It's the first time for a long time where I didn't recognise some of my players, but we'll put it right, and I'm sure that we'll be on the road, all jovial, ready to go to Barnsley, positive, looking forward to seeing what we can do against them. I think there'll be a new signing in before that game, and that'll obviously inject a little bit of something into the club. But yeah, long trip home now, and we'll have to pick the bones out of that one quickly, but make sure on Saturday we don't start sluggish like we did tonight. That was poor, and I was very disappointed, but I've got the lads back, they know that.
You mentioned in pre-season the post-Bayo era and characters like David Stockdale leaving left spaces for leaders to emerge, and I guess runs like this will help that. You identify those or where gaps are to be filled.
You find out who your leaders are now and who digs deep now. I've always said, in successful times, you don't learn a great deal about your team. You learn a hell of a lot about people when things aren't going right. I'm learning a lot about these boys. Believe me, they're devastated in there. They're gutted. They're gutted for the fans who made the trip. I know some were on holiday and came tonight. They're gutted to lose a game. They're very professional, and I'm proud of them, as always. But it hurts. But I know they've got my back, and I've certainly got theirs. We'll keep everything in-house. We'll go again on Saturday.
Two positives from the game as well. Obviously, Jasper Pattenden and Ali Ahmadi making their League One debuts, which is good to see.
Yeah, development squad is really contributing at this time, as you'd expect, with an injury list, and that's one of the benefits of having it. And also, one of the benefits for these guys is that there is, as we've spoken in the past, Colin, there is a footpath into the team from being in the development setup. There is first team opportunities, and it's what you do with them. I think Ali came on and ran and led the line well. Up top on his own, chasing a game. He showed glimpses of what he can be about. He had a good loan spell at Bromley last season, which would have done him the world of good, and a good opportunity for him now, while Vokes is out, to try and stake a claim and catch the eye. I think Jasper Pattenden certainly against Northampton as well, but then again the other night it was only a brief appearance. But these are big milestones for these players, Colin. Like senior debuts in the league. For your club is a huge milestone, and albeit in a defeat away from home and minor minutes at the end of a match. But these are massive things that they'll remember the rest of their lives, and experience now that they can look to build on. As Wycombe are looking to keep building on that, on the development setup as well. But with these younger players, it's still all about the experienced players as well, offering the guidance on and off the pitch. And Joe Jacobson was one of those players out on the pitch on Tuesday night. And he held his hands up, as you can hear now, when he spoke to me after the game.
First half was just not good enough. Simple as that. I think from everyone, we were sloppy on the ball. We didn't press them well. We let them press us. They kind of out-Wycombed us, as it were. I think what we've done over the years to teams, I think we got caught a little bit today in whether we wanted to play out or go a bit more direct, and I think probably going direct was the way forward today, and hitting wheels. I thought he did really well at top, and it showed after half time when we kind of changed things at half time, and it's just a bit disappointing with the goals as well. It's 4 set pieces over 2 or 3 games that we've conceded, and it's very not like us. But we're 4 games in. We're doing things a little bit differently on the pitch with the way we're trying to do things, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and I'm sure we'll get there. But I don't want to have the cliches. It's a long season, but we need to turn things around quickly. We're not in a position we want to be in, and as players, we need to work hard now and change that.
What has changed with the set pieces? Wycombe usually so watertight when it came to defending set pieces of late. What's changed this season?
Not sure. It's just sometimes just goals just go in, and we had a spell last season where teams were scoring a few set pieces against us, and we were working really hard to stop it, and eventually we did, and I don't think we conceded then from set piece for the rest of the season or close to that. So we just need to work on it. We just need to keep working at it, make sure that we're brave, we put our head in where it hurts, and don't make it easy for teams to score. Tonight, I hold my hands up as my man who scored the 3rd goal, and I've got to do better. And all over the pitch last couple of games there's been a few instances where we've got to do better, and it's up to us now to turn that around.
It's not unusual for teams that have taken to the playoff final and lost to have a slow start to the next season. Has that contributed here maybe?
No, because I think I go back to 7-8 years ago when we lost to Southend, and I think we were top after the first 10 games of the season. We started off really well and then had a bit of a dip and finish in mid-table. So I'm hoping it's the other way around this time round, that we've had a bit of a slow start. We had a less of a pre-season. That's probably why we've picked up a few more injuries. We've got some key players to come back in as well that we're missing at the minute, but a lot of the young lads have stepped up and done really well, and the squad is a lot better than it has been over the years, and it's no disrespect to what it was, but I think we're growing and we're evolving as a club, and so they've stepped up. But like I said, we've got some big names, big players to come back in. I think that can add to the squad, and you know, I think we showed last season that when we're fit and we're firing and we've got everyone playing well, then you know, we're a match for anyone.
A real positive tonight was Alfie Mawson, a full game back at centre back. You remember him from his first spell. How was it seeing Alfie back out there?
Really good. Like, it must be great for all the Wycombe fans to see him. He's one of those, you know, he's only here for a season, but one of the heroes from the last probably decade since I've been here that fans remember, and you know, they hold him really highly. So it's great to have him back alongside me. He talks very well. He's calm. He's composed. Look, it's going to be a bit of time before we probably see the best of him, but he showed glimpses tonight of why he's had the career he's had, and I think he said he just wants to get back playing and enjoying it. And I think if you can get Alfie Mawson who's fit, who's happy, then you know, you've probably got one of the best centre backs in the league, or even higher than that. So he's a big coup for us, and hopefully we can keep him fit, and he can be a huge asset for us.
Barnsley on Saturday, just come down from the Championship, and another long away day, but another time for you guys to gel on the bus a bit more and head up there on Friday.
Yeah, look, we prepare really well for these games. We came down yesterday, we did everything right. We had a lighter training session yesterday, so you know, the gaffer and weights and all those staff, they look after our legs, and we do everything right and prepare right, and we'll do the same on Friday travelling up to Barnsley. So it's up to us as players now to take what they kind of tell us onto the pitch and take responsibility and put on a performance that the players, the gaffer, the staff, the fans, the whole club kind of needs right now, and I think you know, a win on Saturday will hopefully kickstart our season.
So overall, do we feel quite sort of, I guess it's hard as fans, isn't it, to feel positive after a run of 3 defeats, but going into this game on Saturday as well, Barnsley are a team who, you know, I think traditionally you don't expect to see in League One, but could provide a good test, another away game as well.
Yeah, they've been up and down a bit, haven't they? They've had a good couple of years in the Championship now and did fantastically well and got to the playoffs. They've had a big period of transition in the last 18 months. It looks, with Michael Duff, their new manager, that they've made a very canny appointment, and he looks to be settling well. You know, they're having to cut their cloth accordingly as well. I spoke to the Tykes blog for Wanderers TV this week and got some good insight there. So they're not splashing the cash, so to speak. And the general opinion is they're looking to kind of build this season and have a real go at it next season. But I think it's a very open division. So I think you can, if you start well and have a good run, then you could well, around Christmas time, think, well, we can have a proper go at this when you go into the January window. But yeah, they're going to be tough. It's always a tough place to go. You know, it's a lovely old ground. The old main stand there is fantastic. The fans are very, very vocal. And Wycombe, off the back of 3 straight defeats in the league, it's a tough place to go at the best of times, but it's even tougher now. And, you know, I can understand fans' frustration. They're not used to seeing Wycombe on these sorts of runs. They've had it good over the last few years, and I know it's hurting Gareth Ainsworth as well. And he'll be looking at this game, as he does with all of them, you know, with a level head, and looking at how best to hurt Barnsley. It's a funny division so far. Results are going all over the place everywhere, so I wouldn't discount an away victory.
And in other news from the club this week, Conor Parsons out on loan at Solihull Moors. A great opportunity for him to get some regular football as well.
Yeah, they've had a good pre-season as development boys around the first team squad, but it's about the minutes, and we spoke earlier about the lads coming on and getting their debuts and getting sort of minor minutes at the end of games, which is great experience. But what is really great experience is playing sort of week in, week out and getting 90s under your belt and playing in a competitive environment, which the National League absolutely is. It's a fantastically competitive division. So for someone like Conor to go down there and make the most of this spell, because they'll be watching, Wycombe Wanderers will be watching, they'll be monitoring what he's doing here. It's until January, so it's a good couple of months for him to get stuck into. And if he can really catch the eye there, then you never know what happens with him at Wycombe Wanderers in the second half of the season as a player. So, you know, these players, they'll be aware of this opportunity that they've got, and they've got to make the most of this. But I think it's a good environment for him to go into. I think Solihull Moors is a really sort of well-run club, a smaller club in a division where there's some real sleeping giants. So it'll be a really good opportunity to test himself and see what he can contribute to their season in the National League.
And we should also mention Operation Wooden Duck, which will be another opportunity for you to, obviously on Saturday with your excursions up the various motorways, for you to hopefully perhaps see a rare sighting.
Yeah, well, Tuesday night was a no-stop strategy. We were straight down to Exeter and straight back, so no stopping in the services. But I think Barnsley with the M1, well, you never know. The embarrassment of riches that the M1 has in services. I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Always a pleasure, Colin.
You can hear from Phil, of course, on Saturday. The match build-up starts from 2 here at Wycombe Sound, full commentary from 3 up at Oakwell. And, of course, a reminder that you can hear those chats with Gareth Ainsworth and Joe Jacobson in full on Wanderers TV.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Welcome back. Part 2 of the Wycombe Wanderers Show still to come between now and, well, the end. We'll hear from Chelo, a Mexican Wycombe Wanderers fan who is at Adams Park. We'll also bring you some new signing news of the week. But first, that sounds like it should have its own jingle, doesn't it? New signing news of the week. That's coming up. Something to work on for future weeks. But first, a big thank you to JDT and Alan Hutchinson at the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, who this week, JDT forwarded on to me a photograph, a team photo from a Loudwater team photo from 1955-56, which contained a Colin Besley. Not this one, though, although I did recognise his ears. This week I've been catching up with Gary Hand, who was a left-back in, actually, the year I was born, coincidentally. Was with the club for a season, and here's his earliest memories of starting at Wycombe Wanderers.
I played with Alan Phillips at Hendon for 3 years prior to Wycombe, and we were very successful there. Won the Isthmian League and the Amateur Cup final at Wembley, then the European Amateur Cup, and this has come as an interesting one. It was agreed, supposedly, I heard this on reasonably good authority, that the Hendon side of that era were so good for that 3 years that a group of managers got together and said, we've got to break this team up, otherwise none of us are going to get a look in. Now, whether that's right or not, I don't know, but interesting enough, all that team went to different clubs. 3 went to Enfield, a couple went to Leatherhead, Alan Phillips and I went to Wycombe. And that's how basically I went there. And I didn't go there right at the start of the season. I was still at Hendon. And I think they needed a left-back. I think Alan Phillips was playing left-back. And Alan, my best friend, is in the best of things not really a left-back. So Alan sort of asked me if I'd be interested in going first. And then I spoke to Brian Lee, and I think I joined about a month after the season started. And my memories were it was a great season to be at Wycombe because we won the league, Berks and Bucks Cup, and got to the third round of the FA Cup. And played in a side that played pure football, in my opinion. It was 1-2 football all the way through. You know, it was very enjoyable to play in. A very good sign.
So what were your first impressions?
It just fitted in straight away. I think I played away at Hayes on a Tuesday night in the first game. And I think we were pulled about a little bit at the back by them until, because Alan obviously moved to the middle, etc. I'd come in at left back. But from then on, I think it was just, I think it was the most enjoyable season from playing football that I'd ever had because of playing behind Mickey Holyfield, who obviously sadly has passed on now, was a joy because we were both quite quick, or he was exceptionally quick. And we used to overlap each other all the time. So it was just, it was really enjoyable to play him. And then you had people up front like Keith Searle, who was I played with Keith Searle at Wycombe and Wealdstone and Hendon, and a great striker. And then Bodger, even though he was in his final years, was still banging goals in. And no, it was just a very good side, great balance. And I don't know if it's because I didn't do a pre-season. But I don't remember, although Brian Lee has obviously got all his coaching qualifications and knew the game inside out, because we had so many games, I don't remember him ever actually coaching us. I think we just went out and played because he had quality players, and that was it. Obviously there was advice here and there, but I think the team almost spoke for itself.
And did it really feel like you were at the club at a special time? Because obviously you wouldn't have known what was to come in terms of the cup run and the Middlesbrough game, which we'll speak about, obviously. But it must have felt like, some of the names that you were playing with, and as you say, the style of football that you were playing as well. Yeah, no,
I mean, I'd played for Enfield previously as well, won a medal with Enfield, and so I've been in the top sides. So I was quite used to playing with quality. But it was. If I go back to when I played for Hendon, we went through one season letting in 18 goals, which is still a record in Ryman. And we used to beat teams 1-0 and were unbelievably efficient. And but it wasn't particularly enjoyable to play in because whereas Wycombe was the exact opposite of that. So it would have been a really interesting game to see if I could have played for both sides and Alan and see what the result would have been between Wycombe and Hendon, the purist against the sort of stoic defensive side. When I went to Wycombe, I knew it was going to be good, but I don't think any of us knew what a good season it would be.
And what are your memories of that cup run, and obviously the two Middlesbrough games?
Yeah, when he came to our place, obviously, I thought Jack Charlton was a smashing guy. He was really very, very obviously a winner, but very humble. Alan's header just went past the post by a fraction, and we could have won. But they had a really hard time at our place. I think they didn't know what to do with themselves. And I always remember Jack Charlton's word in the dressing rooms afterwards. After he praised us, he said, "Wait till we get you on a decent pitch, and we'll murder you." And so we go to Middlesbrough, and on a decent pitch, and they scored 2 minutes from time. So I think Middlesbrough were top, weren't they? Or first division, or second, or whatever at that time. So, for us as a non-league team to play 180 minutes and end up losing 1-0 was pretty good.
Are there any other particular sort of games or moments that really stand out during your time at the club?
I think we beat Dagenham 1-0 right at the end of the season, and I think that was really the sort of title decider. I'm sure it was Dagenham right at the end, and it was 1-0, and that was very tense. I think Keith Searle scored from memory, I just enjoyed every game. You have to realise it's how long ago? Nearly 50 years ago now. So although I'm sound of mind, it's difficult to, when you think I've played probably nearly 1,000 games at non-league and was quite successful at most of the clubs I was with. It's quite difficult to remember every single game. But I believe it or not, although there was a massive slope, I really enjoyed playing there. Once you got used to it, you knew how to use it to some extent to your advantage. And sometimes playing down in the bottom corner as a left back and trying to overlap, you would think that it would be really difficult, but I got quite used to it and very enjoyable.
And a fantastic credit to the club as well, because obviously, as you say, you had success at other clubs as well, but that Wycombe holds a special place in your memory as well.
Oh yeah, and I think what I think is fantastic about Wycombe is obviously the Ex-Players Association. I've been to a few dinners, and as I only played sort of for 1 year, I'm still very, very welcome and remembered by everyone, which is really nice. But I feel a bit of an intruder somehow, only having been there for a season. And I would have liked to have been there for longer than that, but unfortunately, I didn't drive, so I relied on my wife taking me. I lived in Watford then, to Denham Station, and I used to get the train from Denham and then walk from Wycombe to the ground, walk back to the station and get a train back to Denham with Dylan Evans used to come with us, and my wife then used to drop him off at his house, which was around Denham somewhere. And, you wouldn't think someone's playing in the FA Cup third round would actually have to need a lift to and from the ground and walking, But it just became too much. So, I left. But, I still did quite well. But it would have been nice to have stayed at Wycombe for 3 or 4 seasons possibly, because they continued to be successful, So it was just an unfortunate situation. The funny thing is, not 2 years later, I learned how to drive, and I ended up driving about 35,000 miles a year for about the next 10 years around the country, on various things for my job. So the fact that I couldn't drive and had to leave as a result of that was a real pain.
I think that's something the fans kind of really take for granted as well, isn't it? That you forget so easily that, obviously players for the club until comparatively recently had, other jobs at the same time as well.
Exactly. I can remember the season prior to that, when I was at Hendon, we played Newcastle in the third round, and we drew 1-1 at Newcastle, and this sounds crazy, but it was in the year when there were power cuts and a 3-day week. And so, for various reasons, they didn't play the replay at Hendon. It was played at at Watford, and it was on a Wednesday afternoon. And I couldn't get the time off of work at the job I was at that particular time. They wouldn't give me the day off, so I walked out. So that was the dilemma you had in those days, because obviously football, was important to me. So, what was I going to do? Stay at work for the day and miss playing against Newcastle?
No, absolutely. And we should talk to you about your music as well. Obviously, the current manager has a sort of a well-known link with his rock and roll, but you're very into your music as well. Yeah,
for the last 20-odd years, I've been playing bass and singing in a blues band that we play, just at local pubs and stuff. I used to play when I was 13, that age, and then I signed apprentice at Watford when I was 15, and the manager wasn't too happy about having a musician and a footballer, so I had to quit one, and then I picked it up again when I finished managing when I was 50. And it's been very enjoyable. It's nice to have something. I mean, what people don't realise is, a lot of people don't, is that your football career, if you're lucky, it lasted about 31. I mean, I retired at 35 and then managed till I was 50. But at 35, you've still got 2/3 of your life left. What do you do with as a come down? Because you get real highs through playing in matches, and it's a similar thing in music. And it's great that Gareth has got that in his repertoire, and I'm sure that helps chill him out from being so heavily involved in the football sometimes, and vice versa. And by the way, I think he's a fantastic manager, and he's done a great job, and I hope he stays for many more years to come.
No, definitely. I'm sure many people listening will echo that as well. And does it feel like a long time ago? Because it just struck me the way you said it was nearly 50 years ago, and obviously that's quite a long time, but it probably feels comparatively not that long ago. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is a long time ago, and you can't look back. But I had lots of success, obviously at Wycombe and other clubs. And the interesting thing in those days is that there were a lot of guys that could have turned pro but didn't, because they had a decent job, and the money in professional football was quite poor. And therefore, at that stage, I think we had some real quality players in non-league football that in this day and age would probably be professionals now. People like Larry Pritchard, Rod Hayder, who was captain of England. There was a number of people that certainly would have been pros, but stayed in non-league, which was smashing for us, because it made for a really good league. And every club, whether it be Sutton, Wycombe, Hendon, Enfield, they all had their own identity, and you'd play year in, year out against them, and it was nearly always the same group of people. So it was very everybody stayed at the same club for a number of years, so it was really enjoyable. And you had the same battles every year with the same team. So I think when I look now, and if I go and watch a lot of the non-league, the teams change every 6 months. The players, and there's no identity, I don't think, for a lot of the clubs. It must be so nice for you as well to be able to reflect on, what football at that level has sort of given you, and the experiences that you had as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, first round, second round of FA Cup, played in that a number of times, and as I say, those sides were never. I mean, were never any better than we were, really, except for the fact that they were possibly fitter, that trained full time, which we didn't, which you obviously do now at Wycombe, which is lovely. And it's so nice to see that you're in there. It's nice to see Sutton that have just got there as well recently, and a few of the other sides that were non-league at that time.
Former Wycombe Wanderers left-back Gary Hand speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound from Hartford, if you're interested. Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers show, we'll hear from a Mexican supporter who visited Adams Park for the first time last weekend.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers show. If you were listening last week, you'll know that I failed. The word failed was used a couple of times, actually. A fitness test. Luke ably stood in for me. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
It was a good show last week.
Thank you. It was good. Nice to talk to Nigel.
Yeah, really nice
about the
him.
trust.
And Cara as well, the Wycombe Wanderers women vice-captain after the Lionesses' fantastic success as well. And if you're listening on Saturday to our match build-up from the car park, we were joined by Carl Simon. Also, who else joined us?
Bobby, Shantae and Emily as well.
So a big hello to you.
Which I always miss. I'm always in the stadium, so I always miss them. But it was nice to see them.
Good to have them on the radio.
Yeah.
We'll be doing more on Wycombe Wanderers women coverage throughout the season. Of course, their season starts on the 4th of September. Talking of Saturday, and if you were listening last week as well, Luke caught up with Chelo. Tell us who Chelo is.
Chelo is one of the many international Chairboys fans who has now seen Wycombe Wanderers in person for, I think, at least 3 times. So he saw them lose against Bolton.
Yes.
Yes. Win against Northampton Town. Is it Northampton?
Yes,
I'm going well. And then obviously his first home game on Saturday, where he also saw them lose as well. But I spoke to him after the game to get his thoughts on his week so far with Adams Park.
This game was much more about that than that. Well, it was the experience being here after quite a few seasons, seeing on my laptop in the house. So I mean, just being here. Yeah, maybe the outcome on the pitch wasn't the one we will all wish for, but that wasn't the most important aspect for me. I had one of the best days of my life, and I've been experiencing this so much.
I was going to say, what was the experience like for you? What time did you get here? How's the day been for you?
Well, I got here around 12:15 p.m. with Matt and the media guys. We were doing some stuff for the game, and then I watched the first half on the Adams stand. Then on the terrace, got to see a clear view of G-Max goal. So I mean, just getting to know this beauty of a ground and just enjoying this match day.
And what it's been like for you, working obviously very closely with Phil and Matt this week and spending a lot of time behind the scenes to see how it all works. It must be a brilliant insight to the club.
Nah, it's I cannot put into words this week. It's been absolutely incredible. I'm a big football fan since maybe around 5 years old, 6 years old, and just being here on the stadium, on the with the media team in the cup game now today, it's been unbelievable. I am very, very grateful for to this team, to the media guys. I mean, it's been unbelievable, and I would cherish this for all my life.
And how about the fans as well? Because I know you went up with them on Tuesday. It must be great to maybe talk to some people that you've spoken to online before, but actually get to speak to them in person.
Yeah. They all have been very, very kind to me. Just talking to me, getting to know me. It's a great fan base. Yeah, it's been great to actually put a face to some Twitter names and all that. Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. The fans, the people, the stadium, the players, everything. Yeah.
Great to hear from a member of the Wycombe Wanderers worldwide phenomenon.
I'm glad you said that. No, it was really nice to meet Chelo. Obviously, I spoke to him last week, but then actually got to meet him on Saturday. So that was really, really nice. And he's behind the Wycombe Mexico Twitter account. So go and give him a follow.
Yeah, so you heard him on the radio.
Yeah,
that'll impress him.
Yeah, that'll be good. Well, I hope you're listening, Chelo. So hello, a big hello from us.
Yes, big hello. Really good for you too. Big hello to Chelo.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's good. The double big hello. I like it.
Yeah, we big hello to the chair girls and also to Chelo. We should do that every week.
We should do that. Yeah.
You might have heard as well. Perhaps you've just joined us that some big club news, signing news today as well. I know, it's exciting. A new goalkeeper has arrived.
A goalkeeper
in the form of Polish youth international Max Stryjek, who's joined from Livingston in the Scottish Premiership. The Livingston manager has been very complimentary of him, David Martindale, saying that Max has the ability to play in League One in England and higher, in my opinion. We all thank Max for his time at the club and wish him all the best for the future. You might have seen on Wycombe Wanderers social media some photos of Max in training, getting his day one training badge. Do they have that? I don't know if they
don't think they
might
have
do, might they?
They've also just put up a video of him talking to, I'm guessing, Phil, so that'll be interesting to hear. But no, from what I've seen on social media, lots of positive thoughts, obviously from fans, but also from fans of Max.
And the squad also strengthened in attack today with the confirmation that 20-year-old forward Charles Hagan has signed for the club after he was released by Sheffield Wednesday. So another good acquisition there, strengthening the squad for Gareth. And as we heard with our chat with Phil a little earlier on,
little by little,
the wheels of my life are slowly falling off. They're really good for young players to have a pathway to play for the reserves and the development squad, but also to earn their stripes, if you like, in the first team as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as we've seen from the last few games, a lot of the development squad have been playing, and it's going to give them the confidence as well that if later on down the season they've got their first games under their belt, and if they're needed again, then they'll be ready for it.
No, definitely. Lots of exciting times to come, I think, at Adams Park. And, of course, fans sort of disappointed by, those three league defeats. But decent in the Cup, had a win in the Cup against Northampton, as you mentioned. And also got Bristol City to come on Wednesday as well after the trip to Barnsley. Lots to look forward to, actually, on Wednesday night. Yeah,
it's going to be a really, really good Wednesday evening. We will be starting our pre-match build-up to the game 15 minutes earlier this week on Wednesday because there is going to be a question and answer session with Phil Catchpole and Chairman of Wycombe Wanderers Rob Coohig as well. That's going to be happening in the Caledonian Suite. So if you're there already for 6:45, then you can actually go to it, ask Rob some questions. If not, you'll be able to listen to it on Wanderers TV. So if you're possibly not in the UK, you'll be able to listen to it then. And if you are on your way in, you'll be able to listen to it on Wycombe Sound online and on 106.6 FM as well.
Did you say drive time is coming from Adams Park as well?
For reasons of making life easier, yes, drive time will be coming from Adams Park as well, from somewhere. I'm not sure where. I might go and sit outside. Maybe I'm going to sit on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one will be using it, yeah.
No, exactly.
Might get a bit wet if the sprinklers are on.
So Bristol City in the League Cup on Wednesday evening.
Yes.
But ahead of that, of course, the trip to Barnsley on Saturday. The match build-up starts from 2.
It does indeed. Yeah, we'll be live. Well, live from 2 o'clock with Rob, and we'll talk to Phil as well. Not sure who is on commentary duty with Phil on Saturday, but we'll find out then. But yeah, it'll be good. We'll talk. Obviously, we'll hear more from Max as well, and possibly some Gareth Ainsworth as well ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, really interesting to hear what Gareth has to say about the new signings, because I think it's been rumblings for a while, hasn't there,
about many people, yes,
about who might be arriving at the club and in which position as well, and the strength and depth of the squad. But really good to have Max on board, and obviously Tyler's done fantastic as well, though, to be such a young player and to step up and make those League One appearances as well. Yeah,
and for Tyler again, if we need him, if something happens to Max, if we need him later on in the season, he's got that game. But it also now gives him time to maybe some of the things that he's learned over the last few games to take into training now and build him up as well. I think Tyler's done a great job with the 3 games. It can't be easy I'm not sure how old Tyler is, but to go to some of those big stadiums and be goalkeeper. So yeah, I think he's done well. He's a credit to the club.
No, definitely.
Proud of the boys, as Gareth would say.
Absolutely. So much to look forward to in the coming games. I mean, you look at the league table. I mean, it seems strange to look at the league table, doesn't it, after 4 games? But let's say those 3 defeats in League One, a win on the opening day, of course. So just the 3 points at the moment. But I mean, as we mentioned earlier with Phil as well, it's still so early in the season. 4 games in is nothing really, and many sort of surprise results already in the early stages of this campaign.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it could be worse. We could be Man United, and we're not at the bottom of the league, so that's a good thing. But so we're still making people, we're buying people, we're getting people on loan. Other clubs haven't settled yet, so I think it's okay. If we're at this point at game sort of, well, after Christmas at some point, then maybe we should start worrying them. But I think at the moment it's all okay. It's all good.
No, definitely, and great. Obviously, as we mentioned on Saturday, to have that anticipation after it seemed quite good on Saturday as to taking on Shrewsbury and sort of renewed optimism, I think there.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the other games as well, and I know it's not about the possession and everything else like that, but they have been all in Wycombe's favour. We've had lots of shots on target. I think Gareth said after the second game that he wants to see the team taking more chances with going towards the goal. But I think there are lots of positives, but obviously the fact that we've lost 3 is being the high point at the moment of what people are talking about online.
And as you mentioned with Phil as well earlier on, some other real positives about the trip down to Exeter as well, with Jasper Panton and Ali Al-Hamadi making their League One debuts as well. A fantastic opportunity for the youngsters who were brought in for the development and for the future, but for them to be playing such a key role as well.
Yeah, and for a very long time we didn't have that option of extra subs or a whole different squad that we could rely on if we needed them, and thank goodness we do, because we've needed them now, and they've come in and they've shown what they've done, what they can do to Gareth as well, so he knows where they can be used again later on in the season if they're needed, and I think some of them as well have proven themselves to be players that will be on the starting lineup for some of the games going forward as well.
And hopefully the likes of Ryan Tafazoli and Sam Vokes, of course, we heard Gareth say earlier that he hopes they'll be returning to fitness in time for Saturday, so brilliant to have them back. Many fans have been saying online as well about the strength in depth, which is clearly missing at the moment, but with so many injuries, it really sort of tells.
I think the height is the issue that we seem to be missing at the moment from Vokes and Taff is definitely that. And I think also it's been great to see, and Phil has been mentioning this pretty much every game, to see Nick Freeman back playing as well after such a long time out. He's been great to watch and great to see him back on as well, and has been extremely close to scoring on many occasions. So I think as the team settles, as we get Tafazoli and Vokes back, I think, and obviously Kai as well, who we should say congratulations to as well. I think all is going to be okay. Don't worry, don't panic.
No, definitely. I think as we mentioned a little earlier on drive time, definitely a sort of a glass half full rather than half empty. And you look at upcoming games, Barnsley obviously on Saturday, they've won 2 out of their 4, and then of course home to Bristol City, as mentioned, in the EFL Cup on Wednesday, and then we've got back-to-back home games where Wycombe entertain Charlton, that's on the 27th of August, and then before the month is out, at home to Tottenham Hotspurs under 21s, that's in the EFL Trophy, so that should be a good game as well to really see what else is on offer for Wycombe, and then lots of games in September to come as well, so it's going to feel quite the games are going to come quite thick and fast, I think, in September.
Yeah, it's a busy start to the year, and let's not forget, at the beginning of the season we all said this is going to be a difficult season with the clubs that came down. Some of them have spent a long time in the Championship or the Premiership, so we knew it was going to be a tough season, so I don't think anyone really should be surprised on where we are. We had such a quick turnaround after the game at Wembley. There wasn't much of pre-season, as Joe Jacobson said after the game on Tuesday, and obviously not a lot of time to get new players in. And obviously Bayo and Stocko leaving as well. So as I said, let's not get too worried.
And also Anthony Stewart, of course.
Yes, and Anthony Stewart as well.
A big miss at the back, but it does give an opportunity to the likes of Chris Farino, who has done very well in his games that he's come in both last season and indeed this campaign as well. So I think overall, I think that the future's quite bright. And
Alfie Mawson, of course, as well, is back on the side, and he has mentioned about Chris Farino as well, and saying that what a player he's going to be in the future. And I think having Alfie back, he's been able to settle probably into the club quite quickly because of his time here before. But he's going to be able to help the likes of Chris Farino and the other development squad as well.
No, really good point, because when he gets back up to match fitness, then we're looking forward to seeing what he can do again. Great to have him at the club. We heard from Joe Jacobson earlier on in the show as well, talking about he was obviously in the team when Alfie was first at the club, and knows what he's capable of, and we can really sort of shore up the back, and as mentioned, that partnership with Ryan Tafazoli that's coming up soon as well. Lots to look forward to defensively as well as going forward, and we've got the new goalkeeper in place now as well.
Yeah, and there's still time in the window as well, so we may see some more players. Obviously might be going into the development squad or into the main team as well. So I think if we can get the injuries back, we've got a goalkeeper now, which is what everyone was saying about. I think let's give it a couple of weeks, as Gareth I think said earlier as well. It's going to be a rough patch to go over the next few games, just while everyone settles and gets back. But after that, we'll be all good.
Absolutely, I think we've helped in
moral boosting,
rejuvenating hopefully the fans going into this match day on Saturday against Barnsley away, and then as mentioned Bristol City at home on Wednesday night. That will be preceded by the question and answer session with the chairman Rob Kuig, which will be broadcast live here on Wycombe Sounds around 7:15, and also on Wanderers TV as well. So ideal match build up there, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy some answers to literally questions.
We might have some of it next week as well on the show.
Yeah, some highlights.
Yeah.
That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Definitely.
Rob's best bits. Yeah, good.
Yeah, package that up for you. Lots to look forward to in coming weeks. We'll feature, of course, the manager and players. Continue hearing from Phil as well, reviewing the games and looking ahead to what's to come. We'll be featuring Wycombe Wanderers women as well, catching up with the Chairgirls in their exciting season at their brand new home over at Burnham, speaking regularly to Carl Simon and some of the other coaches and some of the players as well. Really looking forward to featuring their progress a lot more, hearing some more, of course, from Wycombe Wanderers former players and current players as well, and some occasional other special guests as well.
And going to support the Chairgirls as well, their new home at Burnham. They've just launched a new season ticket programme as well, so go and check that out. Support the Chairgirls after the Lionesses' excellent win over the summer. Let's support where it all begins.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, great opportunity to follow female football locally.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for listening. Do join us next week for another Wycombe Wanderers show. If you've just tuned in and missed it and thought, this could be rather good, there's a podcast available which you can catch up on from tomorrow and at your leisure anytime therewith as well. Hopefully a win on Saturday against Barnsley. Join us at the same time next week here at Wycombe Sound.